So if we look at that and abstract that out, that we don't want any to be hurt, what we could be arguably talking about then would be the moral reasons. Surely to crikey, it can't be right that we allow anybody in our work environment to come into work and then not go home in the evening. Simple fact is, and I can bang on, as most of you will realise, about health and safety for as long as you want. However, forget the legislation bit. It cannot be right that we, and nobody in this course, nobody gets paid enough to receive a life-ending or life-changing injury in the workplace. You don't. If you're military or ex-military, then if you go hostile, that might be a different thing. But the rest of us, we're not. So it can't be right. So that's, as I'll touch on in a moment, we've got the Health and Safety Work Act 1974, which is the big umbrella of everything. But below that, in the UK, we have 110 different regulations that sit below at secondaries. Within that mix, there is a bucket load of stuff in there that actually says you need to abide by. And what the law's doing is just setting out the minimum standard. You can better it, and most of you already do, but we need to be compliant on it, because there are some things from that can get a bit touchy when we talk about culpabilities and everything. And I don't generally bang on about culpabilities unless somebody wants to ask that question afterwards, and I'll let you know. But we obviously, under the law, we are fully responsible for what goes on. And you can, as you run your own plants, you're in your own plants, you can legally downline responsibilities to anybody you wish, as long as they're competent to do what you're asking them to do. However, what you can never remove is your accountability for that decision you made. And you need to realize that and make sense of that. So if you send somebody back on an alarm call that something's happened at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's a leaking gas, and it could be H2S or whatever, and they go into that, the sensors aren't working, they fall over, you were part of that decision making that sent them back in as a lone worker with no alarms. So you just have to, it's not scaremongering, it's just a fact. You have to realize that there are culpabilities and responsibilities. Remember, you can downline responsibilities, you cannot remove your accountability in the eyes of the law. Simple as that. Okay, and that's based on, well, I'll talk about what it's based on when we talk about risk assessments. You're absolutely right. So we've got cost of investigations, we've got lost productivity, we've got replacement labor, we've got so many stuff. And if you guys can think for a moment, the average cost in the UK at the moment for a major injury on an investigation is around about £45,000. It's huge. And there's a big bit that we don't think about is your time. You are very valuable people and you cost money. And I know who's going to fund it. Well, what you end up doing is then stretching your day out and end up doing an 18-hour day, which then actually starts tiring you out, which then affects your decision making. So financial stuff, it's massive. We've got to think about that. And the reputational stuff, because obviously your backers, the money people behind it, the investors and everything else, they will start pulling funds away if there's any chance of it damaging their reputation. So it's a big thing we've got to worry about. Okay. There's also touching back in and tying back in to the legal side of it. There are fines that come out of this as well, fines and or imprisonment. And we've got to be sure of that, because, you know, there was a whole catalogue of things that went on. But if you think about now, from February the 1st, 2016, with the new sentencing guidelines came out, they've actually changed that fundamentally to, if you're at the lowest form for an individual, your potential personal fine could be, a starting point could be 50 times your weekly salary, going up to 600 times your weekly salary, which is 10 years pay. It's extremely painful, and it's meant to be, it's designed to be. And obviously the judges will make a decision on that. And it's really easy for the judges now. It's in a grid. So if you're highly, flagrant disregard of the law, you're going to be at the top of the table with a class A if it's a fatality or something else. So you've got to be mindful of that. Also, the prison sentence that you could and or get is up to 12 months in prison. Now, obviously, with our legal system here, if you're in the magistrate's court, you can only get 6 months, but they will then, you go, well, that's an indictable offence, and they just push it to the Crown Court, which will then be 12 months, suspended or whatever they decide to do. The other side of it, which is a corporate side, which is any of you guys that are the responsible peoples for your business, that is unlimited fine and or 2 years in prison. Now, we can't put an organisation in prison, but the identifying officers we can, and therefore it carries that 2-year wait, if not more.